Now, on the fringe of the Persian sector, far away from civilization, here we are with our fleet of Onslaughts and Anubis cruisers and a couple of support vessels. Out here on the fringe, past the borders of civilized space, is the Abyss. And the Abyss is home to the threat. We're out here in search of a rogue planet to find a threat fleet to battle. Oh, what have we found here? Could it be? It is a rogue planet. Will it have a threat fleet? Let's find out. Unsurveyed, so I have not been here before. Just gonna quick save. We'll survey this while we're here. What is it, Chief? So you get a couple of clues like this when you're out here on the fringe. Planet's been mined, but not by human miners. Something else. Something more threatening, maybe. Let's do a scan. Nothing. Anything out here? Sometimes you find them around the edges of the map, but maybe not in this sector. We'll have to continue searching. Now, according to the lore of this game, the Onslaught Mark I actually ventured through the abyss, through the void, for eons essentially. Originally, its human crew was tasked with fighting off a unknown threat that was lost to time. But over the eons, as the crew faced the threat and fought the threat in combat, they started to replace more and more with AI until nothing was left of the original crew. Gradually, they became cyborgs, humans with cybernetic implants, and then they replaced more and more until the ship itself was AI. And then the commander, the player in Starsector, actually finds the Onslaught Mark I out here derelict and restores it. And once the player restores it, he's able to sense the threat. He's finally able to see it. They were invisible before for some reason, but now they're out here in the abyss everywhere. Let's go ahead and deploy. gonna send the Onslaught Mark 1 right down the middle. Or do I want to go right down the middle? I don't know. I can't decide. I feel like almost it would be better if the Mark 1 went on the flank. I'm not sure. Let's have the Onslaught Mark 1 on the flank, actually. That seems like a good idea. Engines ahead full. Let's get this party started. These guys are so slow compared to us. I almost feel like we need to wait up here. We need to like slow down a little bit, as much as it pains me. Here they come, the threat. Let's go. Here come the swarms. My Anubis earning his paycheck. Okay. We need you. To ignore the small idiots and focus on what actually matters. You'll see why in a minute, but we need to get up here as fast as possible. We really need to push past these guys. It's not going to be easy, but we have to get up there. And we can't engage these line units too much because they have they're one of the few threat units that has armor stripping capabilities. The rest are not really actually that threatening, to the Onslaught at least. Should be able to kill him. Just need to land a few more shots. Come on. I wish that Onslaught would come more along our flank. Okay, let's go. Okay, here are the fabricator units. The fabricators will manufacture new threat ships. That's what this faction is called, by the way. They're called the Threat. They're just called the Threat. And the big daddies, the fabricators, well, they fabricate new ships. So most of the time you want to kill these as quickly as possible. You really want to kill them and you want to kill them good. Because if you don't, you will quickly get swarmed with a bunch of enemies from here. My engine is offline. Okay, thankfully the Onslaught Mark 1 is moving in. Okay, engines are online again. We can move in. Let's deal some damage. Okay. That other Onslaught is taking some hits. That assault unit is behind him. But this fabricator's almost dead, so I need to go in. I cannot afford to let this fabricator retreat and then manufacture more units. We lost the Tempest. Not a big deal. Okay, that fabricator is dead. So they've lost 2 fabricators. We have a line unit on our flank along with several overseers. This isn't really not good. But 2 fabricators down. So we're honestly in a good position right now. I'm just gonna kind of regroup and try to take out these enemies in front of us. I'm gonna take out this hive unit. You can see this assault unit is just tearing into our armor from the side. We should kill him as well. It's really painful to have him shooting us with the Void Blaster. Okay. I'm gonna order the Onslaught Mark 1 to engage the Fabricator with me. This Onslaught is doing pretty good against the line unit on our flank. And we have 3 Onslaughts here, so this is honestly pretty good. I think we've won at this point. I would like these ships to be engaged. And the Onslaught Mark 1 is going to help us kill this Fabricator. We're just going to try to pump as much damage in as possible. Onslaught Mark 1 is on him. Onslaught Mark 1 is losing a bit of health. I need to take out this assault unit. Okay, that Fabricator is dead soon, but our Onslaught Mark 1 is really taking a beating. So at this point I consider my job to be covering for the Onslaught Mark 1. Fabricator's almost dead. Come on, you got it. You got this. We need to help our Onslaught Mark 1. How's that thing not dead? Come on, you got this. Okay, we cannot let that. We cannot let him live. He cannot be allowed to live. It can't happen. We still have all of our Anubis cruisers. I think we're in a pretty good spot. It's just there's so much chaos. Okay, the Fabricator is dead. The Fabricator's dead. We're in a pretty good spot now. The Onslaught Mark 1 really took a beating there, but he has definitely earned his paycheck. Okay, it's time to move in. It's time to be aggressive once the fabricator's gone. Only one left. And I think that's all of them. That was everything. Was it everything? Is there more? There can't possibly be more, can there? Let's turn off escort. Okay, there's a hive unit left. Okay, he's dead. That is a third strike defeated. Onslaught Mark 1 took a ton of damage. We lost 2 Tempests, but aside from that, we actually beat the fleet. Really good result. And really good loot as well. We got fragment fabricators. We got a Void Blaster. Void Blaster is really good. And we got a Neoferric. Neoferrics are quite rare, so that's a really good result. We can also get a nice fuel restock. We're running a little bit low on crew. We're actually cutting it kind of close. One more battle and we could run out of crew, which is not that good. But that is the threat. And that is a second strike coming in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an emergency burn, and I'm going to get away from this guy. I also want to go back to that debris field and get the loot that's there. So I'm going to kind of maneuver around and then come back once it's time to face that fleet. Okay, we are back, and I have mostly regrouped. I kind of evaded that other fleet, and I'm hiding in the debris field right now with dark. Going dark. And we got a little bit of damage, permanent damage to the ship, but it's not a super big deal. The Tempests are mostly here to capture the points and also be kind of a distraction. It looks like there's 2 fleets up there. Yeah, there's actually 2 fleets. It's another third strike. So we're gonna have to be really fast after this battle to evade the next third strike. Now this is a crazy fleet because there's, you know, the last one had 3 fabricators and then a couple units. It wasn't that many, but this one has 2 fabricators, but a bunch of units to start with. So we're gonna have to punch through more units to get to the fabricators, but once we're at the fabricators, there's not as many of them to deal with. So we're gonna have to deploy everything. And I messed up the deployment a little bit, but that's okay. I only kind of learned to do that recently. Actually, sending the battleships out first so that they get a bit of a head start, and then sending the cruisers and frigates after them, because that way the battleships can kind of get going and the cruisers can just kind of catch up to them. So the Tempests are going to capture the points. The points don't matter too much, but they do kind of distract some of the enemies, which is nice. Yeah, like a couple of skirmish units have gone. Just gonna pause here a little bit to capture that point. Got incoming skirmish units. Okay. So at this point, I'll give some orders to start pushing up. Really, the only thing that matters is advancing. Ideally, our ships will kind of ignore like the stupid little frigates, and they'll just push up instead. Yeah, here they come. I want to get out of the way of my other onslaught. That is really bad. That assault unit got around to the other side. That's really irritating. Yeah, we're pretty much surrounded here. I think it's gonna take some time to deal with that assault unit. That onslaught is gonna lag behind. I think the best thing I can do is push around to this side a little bit and kind of give the onslaught a little bit of time. Okay, the Mark 1 is really pushing up there fast, and I don't want to leave the Mark 1 behind. We might have to leave that other onslaught behind so that the Mark 1 doesn't get left. Okay, he needs an escort, like, stat. I'm gonna give the Mark 1 a couple of escorts. He's taking so much damage from the swarms. I almost want to say ignore order on those guys. This is like horrible though. This is really bad. I think Mark 1 and I can do some damage here though. Let's get him. Goodbye. Okay, there's 2 onslaughts there. So I'm gonna be a little bit radical. I don't want them just sitting there doing nothing. I really don't want that. We need to push up, me and the Mark 1. Okay, they're moving up now, and the Anubis is mostly protecting the flank, which is good. Time to burn drive up. Yeah, there's so many swarms is the thing. but we're at the fabricators now. Start dealing some damage to the fabricators. You need to not do that. You need to not chase the... I want you in there. And I want you helping me. And you can just kind of try to work your way up here, I guess. Okay, this guy's fairly unprotected. Okay, we got the Mark 1 coming in. And we got the other Onslaught coming in. The Mark 1 is taking a ton of damage from the Swarm. How are we doing on the flank? Pretty bad, actually. Okay. You... don't need to ignore him. You shouldn't ignore him. But it's kind of too late to get up here because there's no good position for you around the fabricators. Okay, we took a little bit of damage from the explosion. Okay, that Mark 1 is just brawling that fabricator right now. Look at that. It's just absolutely nuking the shit out of that fabricator. Okay, we're taking a ton of damage from the Swarm. Oh my god. That is absolutely brutal. We lost a Tempest. Still have both of the Anubis, or all three of the Anubises, which is really good. Somehow that fabricator is still alive. And I really don't want him to be alive. Oh god, we're taking so much damage from the Swarm. What? How did you get a defend order on you? What is happening right now? Like, what is actually going on? You need to get up here with us. I need an escort. I don't care about you anymore. I want to not die. Thank you. I'm gonna die. Okay, I can be artillery support from range. I don't need 2 escorts. You probably do, for being real honest. You can take out you can take out 1 fabricator, can't you? Come on, Onslaught Mark 1. Onslaught Mark 1 is in the thick of it right now. He is in there, brawling that fabricator. Units all around him. There's a line unit there. There's an assault unit. Okay, not anymore, but you get the point. Okay, moving up. Need to support our Onslaught Mark 1. Let's go. Okay, fabricator's down. The fabricator's dead, which means we won this. Probably. Hopefully. It's always a little unclear when there's this many hive units, but the situation is pretty good, I would say. We have barely any health. And we have not lost any Anubis cruisers, which is fantastic. Go Dark Onslaught. Just push this debris out of the way. Take a little bit of damage from it. Oh well. Okay, we can take away the ignore order on this guy. He's just like dueling it out on the flank. He's been dueling it out the whole time. Okay. Enemy fleet defeated. We lost a Tempest again. But aside from that, we took out this entire third strike. That's really good. Okay, we just barely have enough crew. We have 4 swarm launchers. That's really good. Because I'm currently working on a fun build with swarm launchers. We lost a lot of crew there. We just barely have enough crew to keep the fleet combat ready. I really should have brought more crew, but we lost like 200 in that battle. That's one of the issues with this kind of hull tank build, is that you lose a lot of crew. Okay, I'll pause here again and kind of regroup, and then we'll take on the third fleet and see how that goes. Okay, we are back. And it's time to find this fleet. Where did he run off to? Somewhere over here, I think. There he is. Come on over here. Another third strike. 2 fabricators again. 2 hive units, not that many. 2 line units and some overseer units. Quite a lot of overseer units, actually. Let's go ahead and deploy the battleships. And then deploy cruisers and frigates. Move our battleships up. Let's go ahead and push all the way up. I think this map is kind of weird. I want to ignore the positioning of all of these small units. This is a new order that was added in the recent patch, ignore. And I think it's better than avoid because you can use ignore if you just want your fleet to just kind of continue following its orders and like not react to the enemy movements at all, which is really nice. Because one problem that happens is sometimes you get, okay, I need an escort up here. Where's my escort? One problem that happens is frigates will run to like the corner of the map, like chasing some other frigate, and oh god. The flank is crazy here. I need you to hold off a little bit. And maybe don't ignore all of these guys. Maybe don't ignore them quite as much. We need like a you know, maybe avoid would have been good there. I don't know. I don't want to ignore them completely. Like theoretically the Anubis should be able to deal with some of these, but there's that assault unit there and that's really... I want to kind of... We really don't have enough Anubises, do we? I'm gonna push up with my Mark 1. Okay, for some reason they're not on the flank anymore. They all moved over this way, which is good for us, I guess. Okay, go ahead and push up. I'm wondering, like, how do I get them to stay there? Like, come on. Okay. That Overseer unit is gonna... The Overseers have like this long-range EMP, so it can theoretically disable my Mark 1 or my Anubis and just be a tremendous nuisance, basically. Unless they come into range like that and get killed. Okay, we're pushing up slowly here. This is quite good. I think we can make it... Yeah, we can push up really hard, me and the Mark 1. And I want you to go for the fabricator, please. I want you to go for this fabricator. If you make it up here. Okay, taking a ton of damage there. Okay, this battleship is coming up. That's quite good. I think you can honestly like just try to survive and cover the flank, because really 3 onslaughts should be enough theoretically. Oh god. Onslaught Mark 1 is taking a ton of damage. Can we give it some kind of assist here? Fire my plasma cannons. Try to do some damage to that fabricator from long range. Okay, we got that fabricator. Really good. Really nice. And now that. What are you doing? Don't go to that fucking control node. I don't know what is going on sometimes in this game. Okay, you can come up here because you have fought off all the ships on the flank. So now we're out of command points. So we need to make these next command points really count. And I think the way that I'm going to do that is by setting an ignore order on all of these guys. Basically everything that's not dangerous. Because I want our onslaughts to kind of hunt like the line units and the enemies that are actually dangerous. But we cannot let this fabricator get away. Yeah. Taking a ton of damage here. Okay, we do have one command point. That line unit needs to die. Come on. Get in here, onslaughts. We can do it. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Yes, okay. I know I'm taking a ton of damage from these guys, but it was totally worth it to kill the fabricator. Okay, how's the situation? We're still quite surrounded. Take away the ignore orders on these guys because we don't have to ignore them anymore. Okay, took a lot of EMP damage there. Get an assault unit here. If you actually focus on assault units, they're not too bad. The issue is that they are so insanely strong, like when they get close to you. But if you keep them at range, they're not that bad. Yeah, like see, he's dealing a ton of damage to me there. I could have died if I was unlucky. Okay. We've pretty much won at this point. I have like no health left. That's been the theme of these battles, it seems like, is I have pretty much no health by the end of it. This is actually kind of a new build, because before I was running Onslaught Mark 1 and 2 Onslaughts, and I was player piloting an Afflictor, which is a small frigate, like a really small, agile, but really deadly phase frigate. And the problem with that is that the Overseer units can counter afflictors. So depending on if you get lucky, like the RNG where the Overseers decide to go where they spawn in, if you're unlucky, then you pretty much become useless, which is not really that fun. So I switched to Onslaught, player piloted Onslaught, and I'm having a lot of fun. Like really a lot of fun with it. Can get rid of some more machinery. Supplies are nicer than machinery in general. Okay. So we lost a bunch of crew, and we actually don't have enough crew to keep our entire fleet combat ready. So we're gonna have to mothball a couple of ships. How many ships? I don't know. How many? Okay, so an Anubis takes 50 crew. That means we pretty much have to mothball an entire Onslaught, which means we lose a little bit of cargo capacity, and we now can no longer carry a bunch of supplies like we were before. No problem. We have to ditch a little bit of fuel as well. Okay, so now we've mothballed one of our Onslaughts. Can salvage a little bit here, even though we can't pick any of it up because we have run out of space. But we got another Void Blaster, which is nice, so I'll take that. That is all of the threat fleets defeated in this system. There's usually only a maximum of 3. I haven't come across a system with more than 3. And we're so far off the map in the abyss that you can't even see us, but we're somewhere down here past the edge. So, 3 third strike threat fleets defeated with our Onslaught Mark 1 and France. Very, very powerful fleet. When I first started fighting threat with the fleet that I had built up, like the first fleet, I was just getting shredded. I was dying left and right. And part of it was I didn't have the sustain, I didn't have the DPS to punch through the threat ships and get up to the top. And I didn't have the longevity to survive the battle. You really need really survivable ships that can stay alive and deal a ton of damage as long as they're alive. And this fleet is actually perfect at that. It's extremely good at this task. So I've been having a lot of fun farming the threat fleets and getting these special weapons, the Neoferrics and the swarm launchers and everything else. It's been a lot of fun.